Hi, we are the Ministry of the Real Truth, and today we're going to do a video review on the latest Jehovah Witness Watchtower magazines that were given us by a visiting Jehovah Witness. Okay, we're going to start with the first one, which reads, "What does the future hold?" Okay, we made some notes here inside these magazines, and we're going to tell you the claims that this particular person brought to us. Within this first pamphlet of theirs, "What does the future hold?" it has predicting the future, and it asks, have you ever wondered what the future will be for you and your family? Does it promise riches or ruin, love or loneliness? Will you live a long life, or will your life be cut short? People have speculated about such questions for thousands of years. Today, experts study global trends and make projections about the future, or predictions. While many of their forecasts have come true, others have failed, some miserably. For example, in 1912, Guglielmo Marconi, the inventor of a wireless telegraph, was quoted as predicting, "The coming of the wireless era will make war impossible." And an agent of the Decca record company, who rejected the Beatles in 1962, believed that guitar playing groups were on the way out. Many turn to the supernatural for clues about the future. Some seek the advice of astrologers. Horoscopes are a regular feature in many magazines and newspapers. Others consult fortune tellers or psychics who claim to read the future by interpreting patterns in tarot cards, numbers, or the lines of one's hands. Yeah, we used to delve into that quite a while back, and yeah, all these claims like you walk across the grass, well, naturally you walk across grass on your way to the shopping centre or something, or maybe footpath, and you'll meet someone there. Yeah, it never happened. Okay, tall, dark and handsome, never happened. Okay, a lot of them are free, but they do sometimes require payment. Well, they've got to survive, don't they? So understandable, and they've got to pay their rent, feed their kids, all that sort of stuff. Yeah, but as they say, it's got to resonate with you, and yeah, maybe some things have uncannily came to pass, but yeah, we're not putting our hopes in it. We're putting our hopes in God, right? Okay. In the effort to discern the future, some in the ancient world consulted oracles. Yeah, like on 300, right? He climbs up and he asks them, and they tell him all this stuff. They shouldn't go to war or something like that. But they are being paid by the Persians. Okay, they were wicked, evil, etc. They got bought by these Persians, by Xerxes' Persians. Okay, so yeah, in the effort to discern the future, some in the ancient world consulted oracles, priests or priestesses who passed on information from the god they claim to represent. For instance, it is said that King Croesus of Lydia sent gifts of great value to the oracle at Delphi, Greece, with a request to learn what the outcome would be if he fought against Cyrus of Persia. The oracle said that Croesus would destroy a great empire if he marched against Cyrus. Confident of victory, Croesus sallied forth, but the great empire that was destroyed was his own. Yeah, it doesn't always work out the way they predict. The ambiguous forecast of the oracle was worthless. It would have appeared true no matter which side won the war. Croesus paid dearly for misinformation that brought him disaster. Have those who turn to today's popular methods of predicting the future fared any better? And the next page it has astrology, all about that. And you're going to indicate here that the guy that came around, nice man, he stated about the Magi that they were evil. Okay, occult practices, all that sort of stuff. These are the three wise men of the Bible who turned up when Jesus was just born and gave him frankincense, myrrh and the other ointment, right? Okay, gave it to the family, Mary and Joseph. Yeah, they were evil because they practiced this. But if they were evil, then would they be allowed to go and see Jesus? Would God not prevent them or something? Would something bad happen to them on the way? They get robbed and beaten up and all that. They probably had a big party. A lot of people say, well, as it's depicted, there's only 3 of them. No, we don't agree with that. No way. Yeah. In those days, it's very, very different. They weren't doing it for a coin, or trying to fool people. Well, those ones we don't believe that. Okay. So it goes on about astrology being a form of divination that holds that the stars and moons and the planets significantly influence the lives of people on Earth. Yeah, like you had the righteous, etc., that used that sort of thing. Astrology, astronomy, maybe looking into their birth date, whatever, to see what their future would be like. It may not have been evil like that in their case, but yeah, there could have been someone else like that looked at the guts of sheep and all that sort of stuff, the worshippers of Moloch or whatever, as you see on the movie Year One. He's reading the guts of an animal or something to tell the future, all that sort of stuff. Yeah, there's people that probably do that in those days for evil purposes or whatever. Okay, so further on it has here, from ancient times people have consulted fortune tellers. Some practitioners look for meaning in such things as the entrails of animals and humans, or the way a rooster pecks at its grain. Others made projections based on patterns in tea leaves or coffee grounds. So all that you have today, all this sort of thing, similar thing, is probably based on that ancient practice. Today they use tarot cards, and someone tried to say that that's the Torah. Yeah, you need to go make an appointment with your therapist. They don't believe it's anything to do with the Torah. Crystal balls, dice, and other means to read a person's future. Is fortune telling a reliable way to discern the future? No, it is not. Let us reason on the matter. Okay, then go into that. What the Bible tells us: the practice of astrology and fortune telling implies that our future is predetermined. But is it? The Bible tells us that we have the ability to choose. Yeah, we agree with that. What we believe or want to do, and that our choice affects our future. Joshua 24:15. Yeah, I think with the Israelites, they didn't really have much in the way of a free will, because God said, well, you got to do this, you got to do that. Worship me, no other God. Don't have idols. Don't covet. Don't do this. Don't do that, and that, and that, and that, and that. Right? So they basically didn't have a free will, because He says, if you do this and this and this and that and that and that, there'll be consequences. Right? You'll be under my curse. But if you do all that I tell you to do, obey my commands and stuff, you'll be under a blessing. Okay, so for a while the Israelites were under His blessing, and they turned their back on Him, stubborn, stiff-necked. Says, "Nah, we don't want someone telling us what to do. Right? We want to do our thing. We want to do what we want to do." Right? So when they went into other lands, they adopted the religions, their pagan religions, their idols, their ways, etc., etc. So they came under God's curse. 10 years later, apparently He forgives them, and they're all good with Him again under His blessings, because they wake up and realise, hey, we turned our back on God. Well, this is what happened. And then they were all right for a while. Then they did it again. They kept doing it. They kept doing it. Backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards. Same as the Judeans, the tribe of Judah. They did the same. They seem to follow suit. Okay, so here it says, worshippers of God have an added reason to reject astrology and fortune telling. God condemns all forms of divination. Yeah, it's in the Old Testament, and it's talking specifically to the house of Israel. The Israelites, at that time, says people need to realise, and then they try to apply it today. To say, yeah, fair enough, well, yeah, you could do that, right? If there's evil practices and all that behind it, sure, no problem there. Okay, so worshippers of God have an added reason to reject astrology and fortune telling. God condemns all forms of divination. In the Bible we find these words: there should not be found in you anyone, and again He's talking to the Israelites at that particular time, who employs divination, anyone practicing magic, anyone who looks for omens, a sorcerer, anyone binding others with a spell, anyone who consults a spirit medium or a fortune teller, or anyone who inquires of the dead, spiritualism, etc. or summoning up spirits, of the dead and all that sort of stuff. For whoever does these things is detestable to Jehovah. Deuteronomy 18:10-12. Okay? This is supposed to be the Most High's name. Okay? The name of the Most High over all the earth. Psalms 83:18. That's in your English translation, right? Okay. The name of the one true God in the Asherah script, Lishana Atika Sapreya, the sacred scribal language of God, that which he spoke to Adam and Eve within the Garden of Eden, is called Lishana Atika Sapreya, sacred scribal language of God, or old tongue. And his name is El, E-I-L. Okay. It was wrongly scripted supposedly by Abraham when he was in Canaan to El, because they had a pagan god there called El, and so forth. And also in Exodus, Moses asked, okay, I've got to go to the Israelites and tell them the God of your forefathers, your ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, etc., sent me. They're going to ask me, what's your name, God? And he says, okay, Moses, you tell them that Ahia, Asher, A-S-H-U-R, or in the Greek, A-S-S-U-R, here, the one who is coming and is coming, the one to come, etc. It's all referring to Jesus, the Son of God, etc. Sent me. Okay? So he goes, oh, okay, God, cool. Okay. So that's another name of God. Don't forget that's in accordance with the Tab Asherah script, the Shana Atika Sapreya, sacred language spoken by God. Okay, so in the Hebrew it could be similar. The original ancient, very old, long dead Hebrew, the Tab Ivri script, or what they refer to today as the Lashon Hakadosh, or something similar to that. Not this modern Israeli Hebrew, which was revised in 1900 or early 1900s, apparently, and it's supposed to be of the Canaanite Ugaritic language. Well, basically Aramaic, Hebrew, etc. are supposedly of the Phoenician, Akkadian, something like that, languages. Okay, so you have other names of God. Maran, which means like God Master, or Master God. Maran Allah. Okay, it's not Allah of the Muslims because it has the end A, which means it's dual. Allah. Okay, so there's no real association there because Allah is a monotheistic God, as they say, right? In Islam, one God alone, and he has no co-equal. And then there's Prophet Muhammad. Okay. You have Yah, God, right, which is God. And then you have Mariyah, M-A-R-Y-A-H, which is Master God, and that's the title that Yeshua Mashiach, or Jesus the Messiah, used, because remember it says he came in his name, his title, Maria. Okay, so those are the names of God. Evidence that it's El in the ancient Aramaic, Galilean Aramaic New Testament, Mark 15:34, where Jesus utters a cry to heaven from the cross, El, El, or my God, which is correct, but they mistranslate what the rest means, because that's a second to third generation Arabic Greek transliteration, and does not mean why have you forsaken me. Okay, when it's translated into English, because he utters the Galilean Aramaic, his native language, he uses that, right, and it means wherefore have you destined me, or have you left me. for this destination, right? Have you left me for my destination, or what I was destined to do? It does not mean, why have you forsaken you? Have you forsaken me? Because God does not forsake, and He would not forsake His Son, and that's in the Scriptures, right? That God does not forsake. Okay, so we're on to a page titled Prophecies That Have Come True. Earlier, it was referred to in this pamphlet, this magazine, to the legend about Croesus being misled by the Oracle of Delphi, which resulted in his defeat by the king of Persia. The Bible, on the other hand, contains a remarkable prophecy involving the king of Persia that was fulfilled in minute detail. About 200 years in advance, long before the king was born, the Hebrew prophet Isaiah mentioned Cyrus by name and described how he would conquer the mighty city of Babylon. Isaiah 44, 24, 27, 28. This is what Jehovah says. The one saying to the deep waters, etc., etc. According to the Greek historian Herodotus, he's supposed to be the granddaddy of the Greek history, etc. He's supposed to be the top honcho, but apparently he's unreliable, he exaggerates. The army of Cyrus diverted the waters of the Euphrates River, which flowed through the city of Babylon. So he made it run to a different direction. Cyrus' strategy enabled his troops to enter the city along the riverbed. After taking the city, Cyrus freed the Jews who had been captive in Babylon and allowed them to return to rebuild Jerusalem, which had been destroyed 70 years earlier. He funded them, all that sort of stuff, because he believed that people within his country, whatever religion they were, could practice that in total freedom, right? As long as they didn't encroach on anybody else or harm anyone else, that sort of thing. Because in Babylon they couldn't. They weren't allowed to do anything. Hence that song, Rivers of Babylon. We sat by the rivers of Babylon and we wept when we remembered Zion, right? And they could do all their practices, etc., etc. So, Cyrus offered them the chance to go back and restore their temple destroyed, right? Gave them all the building materials, financed them, whatever, right? Some went back and did it, some didn't. Okay, so here it says, Isaiah 41, this is what Jehovah says to his anointed one, to Cyrus. Okay, a lot of people think, so that means he's a Christ or he's a Messiah. No, that's incorrect, right? Because if you looked at the original ancient, very old Tab Asheret script, Lishana Artika Sapraya, translated into nearest English equivalent of Isaiah 45:1, you would find that God was actually talking to his son. Okay, so Maran Allah, or God, was talking to his son, Maria Yeshua Mashiach, or Jesus the Messiah. Yeah? He's saying, look, I'm going to appoint this guy Cyrus from Persia, the king, to do my bidding. I'm going to get him to go to Babylon, invade it, and then free my people, the chosen nation, Israelites, right? Hebrew, or the Israelites. And they'll go back to Persia, then they'll turn back to me, and so forth. And I'll bless them, all that sort of stuff, right? So that's what he did through Cyrus. Yeah, because a lot of people seem to think that he was anointed, so he's the Christ. He's the Messiah. That's what it's referring to. No, it isn't. Okay. He's just a tool that God used to do that. Okay. So this is what Jehovah says to his anointed one about Cyrus. Yeah, he's talking to Yeshua Mashiach, or Jesus the Messiah. Right? Up in the heavens there, up in the kingdom there. Whose right hand I have taken hold of to subdue nations before him, to disarm kings, to open before him the double doors, so that the gates will not be shut. The Persians entered the city through the massive two-leaved doors in the city wall, which had carelessly been left open. Had the Babylonians been aware of what Cyrus was planning, they could have shut all the gates and opened onto the river, but as it was, the city was defenceless. Babylonia, or Babylon, supposedly in Mesopotamia, Syria, right? In that geographical location. This remarkable prophecy is but one of dozens found in the Bible. Okay. that unerringly, that means that there's no mistake about it, because it's prophesied, it was a prophecy and it came true. Unlike the predictions of men, often attributed to their false gods, Bible prophecies originate with the one who proclaimed, "From the beginning I foretell the outcome, and from long ago the things that have not yet been done." Isaiah 46:10. So that would be God. Only the true God, whose name according to Jehovah Witnesses is Jehovah. Well, that's not an issue, because we found in the Aramaic translated into English that there's indication that this name was used and it's acceptable. Don't know about having a J in that language though. Only the true God can make such a claim. That name evidently means he causes to become. You have to check that one out to see if it actually does. It points to his ability to know and shape future events in harmony with his will. It assures us that he is certain to bring about all that he has promised. Prophecies being fulfilled today. Would you like to know what Bible prophecies have to say about our day? Some 2,000 years ago, the Bible foretold that critical times, hard to deal with, would come in the last days. They've been saying that for centuries, right? But it does get pretty tidy-whitey and hard, and all this was difficult in these days, right? And then you get over it, and then something else comes up, right? But a lot of people struggle because of the powers that be putting a noose on everything. Last days of what? Not of the earth or humankind, but of the strife, oppression, and suffering that have plagued mankind for millenniums. Let us examine just a few of the prophecies that earmark the last days. 2 Timothy 3:1-5. In the last days, men will be lovers of themselves. What's that thing called? Twitter, the other one. Oh gosh, one of those social chat sites where you see young women like pouting their lips and fluttering their 3-foot fake eyebrows. Tinder, that's it, right? All that sort of stuff. Lovers of money, boastful, haughty. We have come across a few blasphemers. It's like, bro, you just don't understand, do you? You're going to have to stand before God, and he'll make you accountable of that, and they think they're real smart and all this sort of stuff. Jesus is this, God is that. All that sort of real blasphemous stuff. So you say, out of here, bro. Out of here. Disobedient to parents. Well, you can't always blame the child. The parents are weak, and it's not always their fault. It might be a solo mother that's struggling. She has problems. She probably has 3 or 4 kids to look after as well, and that kid wants everything. And he goes off, he doesn't come home, and he's like breaking into cars, all that sort of stuff, because there's no man in the family to guide him, and it's probably why. They got some sort of unrealized anger and all that sort of stuff, trauma, things that happen to them. So keep that in mind. So they're disobedient to parents, so they get into the wrong crowd. Criminals, etc., who have the same problems. Young people that have the same problems. Unthankful, or ungrateful. Disloyal, having no natural affection, not open to any agreement. Slanderers, without self-control. Fierce, without love of goodness. Betrayers, backstabbers. Headstrong, puffed up with pride. Lovers of pleasures rather than lovers of God. Having an appearance of godliness but proving false to its power. So they'll be talking about those are the organised religions, the evangelists, theologians, etc., and the imams. I think they're pretty serious imams, but they do tend to tell stuff that about the scriptures, Christians, etc., which is not true. Made these bold claims, and it's not there. It's not in the original Aramaic or whatever. Would you not agree that such behaviour is increasingly evident in people today? People just don't give a damn these days. No respect of property, or etc. When they come in and you try to help them and they steal your stuff, all that sort of stuff. That's disrespect. So you get a trespassing notice. Don't come back here again, son. Right? There's things you can do to stop that. You got to stop being a walkover. easy prey. Have you perceived that we are surrounded by people who adore themselves? Yes, 3-foot eyebrows, pouty lips, all that sort of stuff. It's all relayed to them through their videos, their music videos, etc., etc. All these celebrities with the big booties and all that sort of stuff, and the 3-foot eyebrows, pouty lips, and all that sort of stuff. Where do you think they get it from? Okay, little kids are gullible to that. They end up dressing up like these stars, right? Pouting their lips and trying to wear these 3-foot eyebrows, all that sort of stuff. Eyelashes. Okay, so we're surrounded by people who adore them, love money, and are driven by pride. Have you not observed that people are more demanding and less willing to agree with others? Surely, yeah, it's all me, gimme, I want, right? Surely you notice that there's a widespread disobedience to parents, and that people in general love pleasures more than they love God, and things are getting worse by the day. Yeah, okay, it is getting pretty bad out there. Okay, but try not to exaggerate it. But it is very, very bad. There are people struggling, suffering, going without. A lot of times it's your government, it's your community, and so forth. There's always something, always a reason behind the scenes, right? Something that indicates all that.